All right, remember in the spring when we were all so excited about planting grass seed and we're going to get it to grow underneath the tree? Yeah, it's gone now. Because once the tree leaves out, the light goes down, the grass blades cannot survive. So what I always say is, you know what, instead of leaving that kind of in the state of, oh, look at all those bare spots, create something, create a garden. So you can kind of see I just took a hose, and you can kind of use the hose to kind of create that bed that you're going to do. And then you can do nothing with it besides putting mulch in it. What I would recommend is, this is the Root Slayer 5000. I don't know if it's 5,000 or not, but what I like to do is to take them and I create my nice straight edge, because what you want is a natural edge. And then you'll take a shovel, or you could take the Root Slayer 5000, I guess, and you push in and then pull that out. So what you kind of do is kind of create that, and then what that does, that becomes the edge of the bed, and it holds the mulch, so that when it rains, the mulch doesn't go spilling out, and then you have a crooked edge. So once you do that, you get the bed established. Then you can decide, do you want to just plain mulch, put mulch in it, and then it looks like a finished piece of your yard, or there's just tons of shade perennials that you can use. These are coral bells, or as the cool kids say, hukra. They have the flowers are kind of insignificant. You're really doing it for the color of the foliage. Here's one. Now this is ground cover, all right? So ground cover comes in little plugs like that. I highly do not recommend that. Just because once the ground cover, it becomes a maintenance thing, because weeds can come up in between it. I know some people love it, but just be aware that there is maintenance to that. I like specimen perennials where you can plant them and then you can go and kind of spray the weeds in between or pull the weeds. So I think that looks the greatest. Now look at over here at, I'm going to show you over here. This is Jenny. This is somebody that actually is one of our perennial experts that lives in this house. And it doesn't have to be void of color. So hostas obviously for the shaded areas, yes, but you can kind of see where she's just put pots. You know, these are sun patience, and she just kind of put them in there and planted them. Sun patience do well in the sun or the shade. So it's really the hottest plant in annuals, if you haven't figured that out yet. But look at the hostas over here that she has. You have an oak leaf hydrangea that also does very well in the shade. This is threadleaf buckthorn. It's kind of a weird plant. It's actually deciduous, but it just gives a little height. I think they're a little weird, but you know, it gives you some height. So you planted all those annuals, maybe some perennials in the spring. How are they doing? How are the rabbits? I mean, last year, our stores, I think all garden stores, set a record for the amount of rabbit repellent that we sold. So I know the bunnies are still out. It's kind of early, I guess. We're just starting to find out if they're hungry. So there's some things that you can do, not only just for rabbits, but we do spend a lot of money on our, on planting all this stuff. And I think the hardest is always the flowers, because you don't really want to put, chicken wire around your beautiful flowers. But so let's just start with veggies. I think veggies is kind of a must to use chicken wire of some sort of fencing. It's got to be pretty tight. You can use, you get it down, and then even then, these are like little stakes that you would pin that down, because they'll burrow underneath if you're not careful. So chicken wire, this is actually 24. I think 18-inch is plenty. I think 12 might be a little problem. I think 18 is the perfect size. But what I always like to do is have something I could step over. I mean, yes, you can make a gate, but a little easier just to step over it. So I think that's the easiest. However, there's lots of repellents. So Safer, this is an organic repellent. This one is one for bunnies that I really like. It's deer and rabbit repellent. It has a waxy emulsion, so it doesn't necessarily disappear when it rains. So you get down and you can actually spray the plants till they drip a little bit, and that should be good. Now, the last couple of weeks we've had some pretty serious rain, so if you get something like that, you're going to have to reapply. But you're also allowing the rabbit or whatever's eating it to get up close to the plant before they're repelled. So there's also where you can put a perimeter down. And again, this is an organic. This is called Critter Ritter. It's a really popular one. It has the, like I said, I showed you this one, but this is the companion one, liquid and granules. And you put this down, do a little line, and so you're trying to stop them before they get to your plants. And I know people have been so frustrated because, you know, a lot of this stuff, they go, it doesn't work. Well, you just got to keep swinging at it. This is something that we sold, and this is coyote urine. So that is supposed to, you know, repel the smaller animals. But my thinking is, now that we have coyotes in our area, do we really want to attract coyotes? So I'm not sure how I feel about this one. And the other thing too, you could attract mountain lions. That's the other problem. Then you have to put out a different urine to get rid of the mountain lions. When it comes to chipmunks not only maybe get after your plants and dig, but they also can damage. I think chipmunks probably are the most damaging, you know, because they dig. They go underneath the sidewalk, and it can collapse. So you can take a have a heart. You can live trap them and relocate them, but studies show that if you take them more than, I think, a mile away, they're not going to survive. So, but you got to do what you got to do. I think this works really well. This is an easy set trap. It takes care of them pretty fast. I know you don't want to hear this. Yeah, I know you're going to Disney and all that, Chip and Dale. But a few ideas to make your garden even better. Had a pretty good month. I know it's been hot this week, but you know what? A lot of rain. So I thought we'd take a look at the lawn and kind of think what's going on the lawn. First thing that I've been getting hit on now in the store is fungus. Because of the amount of rain that we've had, then now you start throwing the heat on there, that's going to produce fungus. Now, this is fungicide. So you have liquid, you have a couple dry options there. Here's the thing about fungicide. They're protectants. So they don't reverse what is happening. So as soon as, if you would see, or if your lawn has gotten fungus in the past, I would be putting it on fungicide right now because it's a protectant. If you start to see the littlest thing, put it on. If your lawn is covered in it, probably not going to do a lot of good for you. It might make you feel better, make me feel better, but it's a protectant. So that's the thing to remember. And so this is prime time. If you do have it, one good way is to fertilize the lawn, because what you want to do is help your lawn grow out of it. So that'll kind of get the, they kind of get stunted a little bit in the summer, get them going, and that might help. As far as weed killers, nutsedge. So that's it. If I can see on that, you cut the lawn and you see this little yellow flat leaf come up, that's nutsedge. So it used to be there was no control. Now there is for nutsedge. So last year, believe it or not, all the manufacturers ran out of nutsedge killer, so it was a bad year. Don't know this year what it's going to be. This is something, same thing with crabgrass you'll start to see. Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, there was no answer for crabgrass, but now there is. So if you do get crabgrass, didn't get your pre-emergent down, don't worry about it. You'll be able to use the Roundup crabgrass killer, or there's some other ones out there that are very good. This is one that you might see on TV, and I just wanted to talk about it because it's spruce. They have very good commercials with dogs and little kids and stuff. But I think sometimes, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, that they make it look like you can use this on the lawn, and it's an organic. You cannot use this on the lawn. It will kill your lawn, just like the other organics that are weed and grass killers. So just be careful about that. It's great because it is organic and such, and it's pet friendly and kid friendly, but again, it will kill your lawn. So time for another edition of viewer email. First up from Krista. Let's see. Every year we fight with the moles. That sounds familiar. What's the best way to get rid of them? Well, Krista, there's lots of ways to get rid of moles, supposedly, that most of them don't work. you can do granules, and those are castor oil granules. I don't think they really work, but people buy them. This puts out its battery, it puts out a little vibration every 90 seconds. My brother-in-law said he swears by these. I said, hey, did you ever have moles? He goes, no. But he swears by those. But he never had moles. So the two things, either a trap, which is a little more intensive for using it, or worms. These are talprid worms. You put them about every 5 foot. That's the ticket. Next up is from Tim. I have a small area where a tree was cut down and the stump removed. It's about 6 to 7 foot square. I tried to put grass seed, and it didn't grow. So first of all, grass seed, you have to keep damp. Remember, it's different from a lawn, so it's light watering. But when you cut a tree down, if there's chips and roots that are rotting, that sucks all the nitrogen. So you have to put more nitrogen where a tree was. So plant, and I probably would wait till fall now, plant a good grass seed and then keep it moist. If it's hot, several times a day, a light watering, lots of fertilizer. Hey, next up from Shannon. Hi Pat, I love your segment. Thank you, Shannon. I bought a little lime hydrangea panicle for around my yard. It attracts pollinators, but it is attracting mostly black flies. Yes, that is a problem with panicles. They do tend, but you know, remember those flies are pollinators as well. So I'm not really sure there's much you can do about it, but just think of all the good things you're doing and enjoy the beautiful panicle hydrangeas because they are in their prime right now. Next up we have from David, very simple. Have a real bad problem with voles, as in voles with a V, not moles, voles. They're eating my potatoes. Help. Voles are a tough one. So a vole, if you don't know what it looks like a little mouse, but no tail. They're kind of a vegetative eater, so they go, you usually will see them early in the spring, but they're around. So the best way to do is to trap them, and you just use a regular mouse trap, bait it with peanut butter, bacon grease. These are the easy set trap, called Jaws. So if you're scared about having that out, you can get a covered trap like that. So, but I would just trap right around them and hopefully you'll get them, because I know that's really frustrating. Okay, next is from Kathleen. Any ideas for treating aggressive ground hornets? Well, yes, I have. I mean, if they're out of the way, you know, generally we'll leave them, but obviously they can be right by a porch and they can be a real problem. So the best way to do it is, and it takes a little time because you actually will sit there and watch and watch and watch. And then eventually you'll see where the hornets are going in and out, or the ground bees. And then after the sun goes down, you empty a can of this right into that little hole. That generally will take care of them. Sometimes you can't find it, or you don't have enough patience to find it. In that case, you can spray 7 over that, just over that immediate area, or you can get the same thing in a powder, but obviously follow the label instructions on that, but that should take care of it. So we're about midway, approaching the midway point of July, and we start to look at our annuals, and people get kind of disgusted in them. So this one's not really horrible, but like here's a 4-inch annual. You can kind of see how they get leggy. Well, you can renew these. You don't have to kind of hang with those and go, oh, it's okay. You know, because vegetative plants like petunias, the callies, most of the proven winter stuff, there's a few exceptions. Probably geraniums would be too slow. A lot of the tuberous begonias wouldn't work. But what you do, like I'll just show you this real quick. I know it's crazy. You take them and you do that to them. All right? You do that to them, and here is one. Because we're doing it in the garden center all the time, because when our plants get leggy, we cut them back and then we bring them back and then sell them, all right? So you can do the same thing. Hanging baskets is probably number one. So, and people are so afraid. A lot of times when I tell people that they're doing this, it's like, no, clear it off. I mean, don't go all the way down to where you just have sticks, but take this, and it gives you that second season, because really annuals will last until October. I mean, if you kind of protect them, unless there's an early frost, something like that. So you cut all that back, So the key then with this, and really with all your annuals, because about the midpoint of July, no one's fertilizing anymore, so you have to fertilize. The way we do it in the store, get this out of here, we take them and we will take Osmocote. We kind of double do it. We take Osmocote, and we'll take Osmocote, and then we kind of shake it so it gets down in there. Then we will actually take Miracle Grow, just regular Miracle Grow powder, 1 gallon, 1 scoop, 1 gallon. We go in here, you can kind of see, I gotta mix this up. Kind of mix it with the hose as I go. Then we just give it a bucket like so. And you do that every week, once a week. And that stuff, it'll just get going. And because remember, when you cut something, it stimulates growth. And when you stimulate growth, it actually thickens the plant too. That's how you know a better hanging basket when you're buying. The better growers will let them grow a little bit and then they trim them off. Sometimes they'll do it a second time. The not so good growers stick the plug in and let them go. Great, I have stuff leaking on my pants now. All right, so here is that same plant, one that we cut back. So right there, you see that. Everything is back in order. You are ready now for the home run that's going to take you all the way into fall. So start trimming. Well, it is the summer doldrums, and today I thought I'd just go through some random things that we are being asked for right now in the garden center. So some of these might hit home with you. Some of them may miss. Roses, number one. So this is pretty typical of roses when we get heat and we get a lot of moisture. You can kind of, and I know a lot of our viewing area has a lot of moisture, but you see the black spot and they just start looking really bad. Well, that kind of happened to us at the garden center here at Keystone because we're so busy during May and not paying attention, and we had a batch of roses that kind of got away from us. They probably had come in with, maybe a lot of times they come from the growers with black spot. These things, there was a probably 20 or 30 of them just were ravaged, and all of a sudden I saw them one day and I thought, oh, I got to do something. So this product right here is one of the best. So you mix this up. It doesn't go all that far, but it takes care of it, everything. It fertilizes, has insect control, disease control. So this is about 4 weeks now, 3-4 weeks, and they really have come back. They've rebloomed. Really, I mean, and look at the depth of green in the leaves. So you got to take care of them. If you don't want to use that one, you can also use this one. There is no, it'll take care of the insects, it'll take care of the disease, but no fertilizer in that one. So, but get after the roses because you have a long time, I mean, all the way into fall. So I'm going to step over here and we have tomatoes. So this is I know I'm embarrassed to even show this tomato, but it's the only tomato we had left on our property. So tomatoes right now, same thing, we have heat, we have rain, and that can really cause this uneven moisture of the plant. Because it's so hot, what the plants do is they protect themselves. So, and they kind of fold themselves down and they wilt down. Well, they're protecting themselves. Some of us think it's needs water, so we start dumping water on. So it has these wild swings, and so what they do is it's called blossom end rot, where you'll get kind of a black leathery spot there. And then what happens is that's a calcium deficiency, and what the plant does, it borrows, you know, when it gets dry, then it'll borrow moisture. So, and a lot of times that's caused also from too much fertilizer, too much nitrogen. So be careful about fertilizing. I highly recommend Tomato Tone because it's the nitrogen on it is 3 different kinds of organic nitrogen, all about a total of 4%. But if you're dumping an 18% on, they get growing too fast. So what can you do? First of all, don't overwater. Look at your plants in the morning. If they're wilted down in the morning, that tells you they need some water. So do that. And then there is a, did I not bring it? Oh, there it is right there. It's called Rot Stop. And again, you would spray this on the leaves. There's instructions on there. And that will help balance out that calcium problem we have. So that's probably the #1 thing with tomatoes. So a few things around the garden, but you know, we have a long way to go. So it's going to be a beautiful week. I'm sure of it. Well, it is hydrangea season. They are in their glory. So I kind of thought I'd give you the history of the hydrangea. That sounds kind of boring, doesn't it? So hydrangeas is something that we've always loved, something that we've always wanted to have here. But the hydrangeas that grew here were just the white hydrangeas, panicled, and what's called smooth leaf hydrangeas. The ones, of course, a lot of times we wanted was the blue hydrangea, the macrophylla hydrangea. Well, they were zone 6 plants, but now through the magic of the way they produce plants and figure it out, now you can get macrophylla hydrangeas that live here fine. So now we have them, but they're still problematic. So they're still not easy. This is endless summer. This is the one that started everything. So it's a macrophylla hydrangea. It blooms on old and new wood. And it's the same thing with the hydrangea. If you want it to stay blue, this is what in the plant world we call that blue. I know everyone at home is saying, that's purple. Okay, fine. Play along. All right, so if you want to keep them blue in our soil, you have to put a soil acidifier on it. So there's a couple different ones you can use. You have to do that once a year. They'll stay blue, or they're just going to be like this. And that's what our soil is going to do to them. They're going to turn pink. And there's nothing wrong with that. Be happy. Be happy with what you have. People on the East Coast, they're putting down lime because theirs are always blue on the East Coast. So they have to put down lime to make them pink. See, no one's ever happy. The ones that are way easier to grow are the panicle hydrangeas because the macrophyllas are very specific on light. They don't want too much sun, but they don't want shade. These can take full sun, they can take morning sun. This is the one that started it all on this. This is called endless summer. So they get these beautiful cone blooms and then they'll start to fade. Look at this one over here. They start to fade to a pink. I like to call it Victorian. I don't know why, but that's what I'm calling it. All right, so then it gives you kind of a couple different shows as it matures throughout the growing season. Problem here with the one that started it all, it gets 6 to 8 foot tall. So right now when they're like that, it's like, oh, that's perfect. Well, you know what, in a few years, and we had those at our home, and we finally had them taken out because they just get too tall. But don't worry, genetics at the, here again, this is the little lime. So the same family of plants, this one gets 3.5 to 5 foot tall, perfect for most landscapes. If you want the multiple color, or the best color, it's the Bobo. And I'm showing you the Bobo, that's good. All right, Bobo only gets 3 to 5 foot tall, but it gets covered in blooms. The thing that I don't like about it is that the blooms weigh it down, so sometimes it'll splay open. So that's kind of a problem. So the only other one I want to show you, which is actually the most popular hydrangea we sell, is actually Incredible. And so there's one called Annabelle that we had. This is the big white blooms. Doesn't do it, just stays white. But still, this year, this was the #1. So lots to choose from. Well, time once again for another episode of viewer email. First up, we have from Nancy. Pat, my flamethrower redbud tree was leafing out magnificently with all 3 colors until the rains came last spring, which were constant, and then it drowned. So what has happened to Nancy, obviously it drowned, but she's saying here, as it goes on, the leaves, it came back this year, and the leaves are just green. And that's because, first of all, this is not a flamethrower. They're so popular, we haven't had any in a while. I think our Allisonville store has some, but it's so beautiful. It's 3 different colors. But how they do that is they graft that on top of rootstock. So you'll see a graft right there. And so what Nancy is seeing is the flamethrower died on top, and what she is getting is some leaves from the rootstock. So best thing to do is go find another flamethrower. Hey, next up from Kathy. Every year I always attack with 7, the first signs of Japanese beetles on my roses. This year I sprayed, everything turned dry and died and killed the roses. And she goes on to wonder about temperature, and that's exactly what it is. you have to be really careful. And she was kind of complaining, I don't blame her. It's in very small print that you cannot spray over 85 degrees. So you have to be really careful, make sure they're watered before you spray them, but just be real careful when you're using these insecticides. So sorry about that. Looks like a new rose in your future. All right, next up from Beth, I want to plant some hydrangeas on the north side of the house. Which is the best variety? Well, that's always a scary one, Beth. So depending on what else is blocking. So really the rule of thumb is if they get morning sun, macros like this, they need to be in the sun until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The panicle hydrangeas will also do well in morning light, but again, if it's not getting a fair amount all the way till 1 o'clock, I would get something else. Next up from Deborah, we have an unsightly fungus growing where we had a tulip poplar taken down. How do we get rid of it? As the root system kind of deteriorates, it's very common to get fungus going. Eventually it'll go away. The best way, if you want to try to kind of make it not so obvious, is aerate the area, get a pitchfork and just kind of work that area. And if you get some air in there, the fungus will pretty much kind of disappear. It's going to go away on its own. Next up from David, what's wrong with my tomatoes? I'm not a gardener and I've tried very hard to raise some tomatoes for myself. Bottom leaves are drying and only 1 tomato on each plant. All right, well, you can kind of see David is growing in a container. Containers, I think, are really hard. For example, this is the one we did for Channel 13. So I just had it in the garden center, and then everybody walked by, because we're watering all day long. And this thing is so heavy, it's over-watering. So the containers tend to get over-watered. In the photo, the plant doesn't look that bad besides the powdery mildew. So what you want to do is watering. Only water when you see the plant. Look at the plant in the morning. If it's kind of wilted down, that's when you want to water. But I think it's holding way too much water. You can put some neem oil on it, but what I would do is probably just trim the leaves that have the powdery mildew on it and just kind of ignore it a little bit. And I think that things will start fruiting for you. Have a question you'd like me to answer? Shoot me an email at askpat@wthr.com.